Well, was it great for the University of Michigan versus ECU? No, it was not great, but it did. It passed the test. It was acceptable. 30-3, Michigan wins at home in the Maze Out. There's a few takeaways I have, and then of course I'm going to do my play-by-play because you cannot describe how a game went without going through the play-by-play. It tells the story. It was a preseason game for Michigan. The next couple are too. And that's how they treated this game, in my opinion. The fact that Money Moody is gone kind of sunk in after that missed extra point, and then later on, the new guy missed a field goal, but it was a really long field goal. Even Money Moody missed some of those, so he'll learn. He'll get back on track. Defense, without Will Johnson, Rod Moore and Makari Page was very acceptable in my book. They had 2 interceptions and 235 yards allowed, and a lot of them were on them last couple of drives that ECU had when Michigan kind of called off all the dogs offensively. They still had starters and defensively, so that is kind of a concern as well. But like I said, Michigan called off the dogs late in the third quarter after Michigan McCarthy was targeted against. That was a concern for me. But late in the third quarter, offensively, Michigan called off all the dogs after they failed to punch it in versus ECU on the goal line after like an 80-yard drive, and they couldn't get it in. I never thought that would be possible. I think Michigan, overall, without Harbaugh and Sherrone Moore, Michigan performed well. The offensive line missed Sherrone Moore, in my opinion, though. But it was a good first game, not great, like I said. JJ was awesome. The main takeaway for me, 26 of 30. He had 30 passes in this game. I loved it. They kept him in, even though they were up late to get him some more reps. But once that targeting happened, you kind of just have to get him out of there. But he had 280 yards on them 26 attempts and 3 passing touchdowns. Michigan overall had 402 yards to ECU's 35. In the rushing department, Blake Corum had 11 runs for 77 yards and a touchdown. Edwards had a lot of 1-yard runs early. Both these guys just struggled to get out. Well, to be fair, Michigan had started one of them drives early on their own 2-yard line, so that's where you got to throw the ball right there. Some of the play calling early was a concern, but I love that they passed the ball as much as they did. So Edwards ended up with 37 yards on 12 carries, 3.1 average. Not very good, but he had 4 catches for 33 yards to go along with that. And the rest of the receivers, Wilson led the way with 6 receptions, 78 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He had a drop early, and then he had that pass interference late that would have been like a 60 later. That would have been like a 60-plus yard touchdown reception, but it was a pass interference on ECU. Good play by them. Loveland had 4 catches for 57 yards, and CJ Cornelius Johnson had 5 catches for 71 yards. So here's how it all went down in Ann Arbor. ECU started with the ball and went 3 and out, but they had a great punt down to Michigan's 2-yard line. And Michigan run. It was a 3 and out. Punt from their own end zone was pretty good, out to their 46-yard line. ECU, then on a 3rd and 9, it was intercepted by Mike Sainristil, the best nickel in the game. Michigan then, Roman Wilson had that drop, like I said, but then he made up for it. He had a first down catch right after that. Blake Corum had a 21-yard run. McCarthy evades some pressure and passes to Wilson for a touchdown later in the drive, 14 yards. It was 7-0 Michigan. ECU's Jalen Johnson had a 9-yard catch, and then a quarterback sneak got a first down for ECU. But then later on 3rd and 11, it failed. They punted inside the 10 again. So the field position battle hurt Michigan early. The running clock, all that. That's why they only had 30 points. But this game lasted forever, it seemed like. McCarthy then went to C.J. Cornelius Johnson for 20 yards. And on 3rd and 7, Wilson got a first down. That PI on ECU saved a touchdown for them. And then it was the second quarter. Blake Corum had a 37-yard run to the 2-yard line, and then he punched it in for a touchdown. 14-0 Michigan, a 90-yard drive. ECU, Patterson had a 14-yard catch from Flynn, who is now in instead of the starting quarterback. There was a hold on ECU. Harris then had a 16-yard run, so that negated that hold. Flynn got a first down run. It was 3rd and 5, and a huge pass breakup by Sainristil after a huge open field tackle that he had. Sainristil was all over the place. He is the best. So ECU had to punt. Edwards had a 12-yard catch after that, and on 3rd and 11, Cornelius Johnson got a 16-yard catch for a first down. Loveland had a 24-yard catch, and then he had a 15-yard catch, and then Wilson had a 10-yard touchdown catch. There's the passing attack that Michigan fans wanted to see. So that is exciting. And it was 20-0 Michigan because they missed that extra point that I mentioned earlier. With 5:32 left, ECU had a 3rd and 2. Then Bond had a 19-yard catch for them, and on 3rd and 5, Flynn had a first down run. And then on 3rd and 8, Johnson had a big catch that was punched out by Keon Sabb. They initially called it a catch, but after review, it was incomplete. And then on 4th and 8, ECU missed a field goal. So the shutout was still intact. Michigan then, with 48 seconds left, went down and kicked their own field goal. CJ, Frederick Moore, Wilson all had some catches. They got a timeout with 14 seconds left. Moore had another 9-yard catch. 49-yard field goal was good by this new kicker. So, we'll see. First game jitters. 23-0 at halftime for Michigan. At halftime, J.J. McCarthy was 16 of 18 for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the start of the third quarter, Michigan got the ball and drove it right down the field. 12 plays, 75 yards. Max Bredesen opened it up with a 14-yard catch. Corum had an 8-yard run. And then CJ had a 16-yard catch. Clemens got a catch. So they were slinging it around. On 3rd and 11, Wilson stepped up big with a 15-yard catch for a touchdown. Like I said, 12 plays. It was 30-0 Michigan. Then ECU had a 3-and-out, and I was thinking, okay, Michigan's a second-half team. Let's see what happens. Far from it. Michigan had an 80-yard drive right after that failed. They could not punch it in versus ECU. Edwards had a 7-yard catch. Loveland a 14-yard catch. Edward had some better runs at this point. A 14-yard run. But a hold on Michigan backed him up. And then a personal foul with targeting on ECU on McCarthy gave Michigan a first down. Michigan kept him in after that. CJ had a 15-yard catch, but then that fourth down on the goal line was stuffed. ECU in the fourth quarter now starts at their own goal line, and they had a 3-and-out. Carmelo English had a nice return to ECU's 38-yard line. Davis Warren takes over at this point, and the backups come in offensively. Michigan got an encroachment penalty. Kalel Mullings then had a 12-yard run. That was nice, but Michigan a full start. And on 4th and 6, Turner missed that 52-yard field goal. So just struggled there right when we put in some of them backup players. Harbaugh will address this, all of this, during the week. He can coach during the week, so and there will be a new interim head coach for next week's game. But overall, I think Minter did a stellar job today filling in. ECU got a couple first downs and another first down. They got into Michigan's red zone, and on 4th and 6, it was a turnover on downs. Michigan, with 6 minutes left, got a first down, but then they punted the ball. And then with 3:04 left, ECU got the ball and got valuable practice late and had a late drive and made a field goal. They called timeouts, bam, bam, positioned themselves, 5 seconds left. Field goal was good. They ended the shutout for Michigan. So 30-3. Like I said, there was good and there was bad. I can't wait to see what happens next week with, is it Bowling Green or UNLV? Can't remember. Another preseason game coming up from Michigan. It looks like Colorado just beat TCU 45-42. Clock's ticking down, 10-9-8. Coach Prime with a huge win. I did not have that happening. But there you go. Thanks, everybody. Like the video. Subscribe. And thank you, WCBN. I was not able to watch this. Screw Peacock. I'm not doing that unless I have to later on. You know, if there's bigger games on Peacock later, especially other sports, I might have to get Peacock. But right now, WCBN, I can listen to it on there on YouTube. They do just fine. They are better. They paint a picture. You can see what they're talking about. They're really good. They're Michigan students, University of Michigan students that broadcast the game. So that's how I got all this information, and that's how I'm giving it to you. So maybe you guys didn't watch the game either because it was on Peacock. Like the video on my little recap, instant reaction. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. More football to come.